Welcome to the Zentangle Project Pack series. This lesson is part of Project Pack 4. My name is Rick.
Hey, and I'm Maria, and Project Pack 4 is designed around a specific project we're calling the Zentangle Spinner.
Today is day 11 of the series, and if you're watching them in order or out of order, doesn't matter. Just watch them all and it'll all come together.
Today we're going to guide you through filling one wedge of your spinner with some tangles. So I'm starting this out with a grid tangle that we all know and love, and it's called Knightsbridge. It's probably the most basic of all the grid tangles, and it's where it started and it began, and it probably comes from time the beginning and on walls and caves. But I am always so attracted to anything that has real Knightsbridge in it. It attracts my eye, and I love using it. It's just so...
Well, it's vibrant and it's familiar and it's exciting.
And it's fun. It's just a fun... It adds a little life to sometimes to tiles that have too much line work or not enough drama. And it's an easy way. And I always make mine a little bit more animated. My lines are a little curved and certainly not diagonal and upright.
And you'll notice that she did each one. When you're coloring them in, if you color the one that touches the corner of the one that's already colored.
Kissing tiles. The black's got to be, they have to kiss each other there in order for you to get the right one. So this is a tangle called Senna, and we've just sort of brought this back recently and done some really cool things with it. I just really love to do it, and it starts with a sort of an S shape in the middle of your space, and you pull one line off of it, like a curved line off it, and all you have to do is keep aura-ing that line, touching that middle S shape, and go all the way around, and it makes this unbelievable pattern that you just can't even imagine. I love it.
So again, this is aura in action, but each one is anchored off of that initial line and just sort of coming off and then getting a little spreading out ever so. I love that gentle curve that you put to the line there. Just aura-ing. And again, this is one of those tangles that you don't really know what it's going to look like when you begin. And you just follow the process. You follow the steps of the tangle.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're done, it's, I don't know what you would call that. It's like
a swirl, like a what do you call those?
Waves or hair or,
It's beautiful.
Fabric or...
And it shades really nice.
Clouds.
Too. And we're going to do on our border tangle here a classic perk, which is one of our first borders that we did. And it was inspired by seashells, but it isn't any one particular seashell. It just has sort of that marine feel to it, don't you think?
So normally it would be in a more shell shape, and so we're just sort of pushing ourselves and putting it in a border form. And those lines, you notice that they're really like these reverse S shapes.
Very subtle.
Nice little curve to them.
So I'm kind of smushing in, that's my technical term for this, smushing in my orbs in there so that the orbs are just actually a tiny bit bigger than the stripe. And so what happens is that stripe that we put in will disappear and it will become negative space. It gives the orbs more character to have this uneven shape as opposed to perfect circles that fit with spaces. It's kind of cool. And my last pattern here is a betweed variation, and it's the star betweed, which is really cool. We start by drawing lines that are perpendicular and then going crisscross.
So notice how this stroke is just a simple curve and slightly weighted at the end.
Slightly.
From one side, then the other side, and just over and over and over and over again. That's it. So now it's just to enjoy the process.
This was probably one of our first difficult focus tangles. You have to really concentrate on what you're doing, and it's an unexpected pattern. It's so beautiful, and it has that Moroccan weaving look to
right,
it.
those
Remember
sandals,
those sandals or the
yeah.
pocketbooks and stuff.
And we did a since you're watching this, you're probably on our YouTube channel somewhere. If you go into the favorites playlist, you'll see a whole video dedicated to betweed.
Right, that was a really cool.
That was a fun one.
So it shows betweed in borders, in squares, in circle. I mean, all kinds of stuff. It's really cool. That's worth revisiting.
So Maria's just going to repeat this, and notice the cool meta pattern evolving, or coming into being there when the shapes are next to each other.
Do you know where this name came from?
It was a typo, right?
It was a typo on the title of a blog, and you had written between a rock and a hard place instead of between. And I thought, that's a great word. So betweed became our next tangle. Between a rock and a hard place. I am proofreader most of the time, so.
After the fact.
After the fact. No mistakes in Zentangle.
Right.
It has sort of a
Isn't that beautiful?
almost Native American right there. When you have the Native American blanket patterns and stuff.
Yeah.
Pretty. So I'm going to grab my graphite pencil. And on the Knight's Bridge, I think I'm just going to add some to either side just to make it curve outward. You can see that right away, that it just sort of becomes, curvy, not flat. So I'm going to go around the center and then add some underneath that S curve.
I mean, just that makes it so dramatic. That little bit of, and she's being very heavy-handed with the graphite in that intersection, because it really makes it pop.
And on this perk border, I'm just going to add some graphite below the orbs to give them some depth, and that'll just give it just enough to go. And border tangles, I almost always add graphite on top and bottom, make that ribbon effect.
There's lots of ways you can shade betweed. You can do the individual elements, or in this case, just treating it as a texture and doing the whole space. Oh, I see what you... Oh, that's cool. Again, just a little bit to add some interest.
And with my tortillon, I go in and smooth everything around and add a little love.
And if you've done a tangle as intense as Knightsbridge, you want to make sure all the ink is dried.
Right. Look at that. Look at how it comes alive with just that.
Really folding into itself there.
How cool.
So even if you don't think you need the tortillon, it really makes it smooths it, it finishes it, and it pushes it into the paper. So instead of the graphite just sitting up on top of the fibers, it really becomes part of the composition.
Turning the tile, even as shading, get your hands away from it.
That's pretty awesome.
Looks good.
But wait, there's more.
Yeah, of course, I couldn't not bring out the white chalk. It's one of my favorite tools.
And
Add some highlights.
I think it's going to be on the center. You'll get that, right? Very dramatic.
Just follow that curve. Look at that.
Nice highlight. And then just because you've got it in your hand.
That's true. Nice. I can't wait to see these when they're done.
It's going to be awesome. But I just love the combination of tones and types of strokes, and this is a great combination of tangles. And that whole idea of looking at it and seeing something and, I'm going to do that. I want to touch that up. So I think maybe just those.
I oftentimes go back with my pen after I see the whole thing and just add a little bit of love, tidy up some strokes, and maybe bolden some.
So we will see you for our next one, and thank you so much for spending time with us, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye now.